In this video, I am going to factor this quadrinomial by grouping. Just to remind you, quadrinomial is a polynomial with 4 terms in it. So let's start by grouping. So my first group is this one and my second group is this one. Now I am going to look at the first group, which is negative y to the power 8 minus 5y to the power 6. What can I factor out here? Obviously, it's quite obvious to see that I could factor out y to the power 6. However, I'm going to factor out negative y to the power 6 so that inside the parentheses I have positive terms. So if I factored out negative y to the power 6, I'm going to be left with y square. Let me do it on the side, kind of how it comes out. So y to the power 8 negative divided by negative y to the power 6. Negative and negative is going to cancel out. That's going to give you y to the power 8 minus 6, which is y square. That's how I get y square. Then negative 5 y to the power 6 over negative y to the power 6, which is just positive 5, because negative cancel out this cancel out, that gives you 5. So plus 5. Now between the terms in the second group, what could I factor out? I could factor out 3, and then I could factor out y square. If I factored out 3y square from 3y to the power 4, I have y square. Then if I factored out 3y square from 15y square, I'd be left with 5. Now please note the following. I have taken a quadrinomial, and by grouping and factoring I have reduced it to a binomial. A binomial is a polynomial with 2 terms. Now look, the first term has y square plus 5, second term has y square plus 5. So I could probably factor that out, y square plus 5. If I factored that out, what am I left with? I am left with the first term negative y to the power 6, then plus in the second term 3y square. So that's what it is. Technically we could be done. However, look at the second term. We notice that we could factor it out further. We could factor it out because we have y to the power 6 here and y square here. So what I could do is this. The first term stays as it is, so I'm just going to leave it where it is. So y square plus 5. And then the second term, I could factor out negative y square. So put it inside the parentheses, negative y square, because I have y square here and y to the power 6 here. The highest power, the lowest power is 2, so I could factor that one out. If I did that, I'm going to be left with just y to the power 4, because negative y to the power 6 divided by negative y square, negative and negative is going to cancel out, is going to be y to the power 6 minus 2 is y to the power 4. Okay, then minus 3. Again, 3y square divided by negative y square is going to give you just negative 3. Now I could rewrite it nicely. This negative y square, I can put it up front, negative y square, then times, I could multiply this by y to the power 4 minus 3, then the last term, which is y square plus 5. This is one way of doing it, but I'm going to give you slightly different flavor of factoring this one, this quadrinomial, slightly differently. So let's do it that way now. Look at the quadrinomial here. Before you do any factoring, you can do the following. Note that every single term in this quadrinomial has y in it. So the lowest power of y is y square, so we could factor that out. I'd rather factor out negative y square. Why would I do that? Just to make the terms, first term inside the parentheses positive, and you could factor out y square if you wanted, but it wouldn't make any difference in the answer really. So if I factored out y square, I will have y to the power 6 plus 5y to the power 4 minus sorry, this was actually a plus, so this is going to be a minus 3y square, then minus 15. Now you can group it this way, so you'll have negative y square, and in the first group I'm going to have, so let me use a different color here. I could factor out y to the power 4, that's going to give me y square plus 5, and then in the second group I could factor out negative 3, that's going to give me y square plus 5, and then I close it. Now we see negative y square, and inside the parentheses, this yellow parenthesis, I could factor out y square plus 5. Why could I do that? Because this term has y square plus 5, this term has y square plus 5. Now if I did that, I'm going to be left with y to the power 4 here in the first term, in the second term negative 3. And it's, by the way, the same answer as this one. I hope that this discussion was helpful. Thank you very much.